What is going on, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, cats and dogs? We're live here from beautiful Elyria, Ohio. It's a cold night. We're here at Mega Wrestling's Open the Gates. I'm here with the one and only, the Bone Collector, Dominic Garrini. We've kind of done this before, haven't we?
Yeah, we did this almost a year ago now, and I always wondered, I was like, man, when's this episode coming out? And we hadn't talked, and you hit me up last week, and you were like, hey, that first episode we did, the entire file got corrupted.
Yeah,
so.
It was like I had some with PME, and I think another one with Daniel Hooven and all that, and I went to go upload or download the files and all that, and it's file corrupted. So it was a night of interviews completely lost. So we're here. We got new software, and we're here. So for people who don't know you, you are indeed a professional wrestler, or else you probably wouldn't be on the show. But you kind of have a different background. You got an MMA background. Tell us how you got into professional wrestling, man.
So I was actually into pro wrestling before I ever got into kind of the MMA type stuff. I was a little kid. My mom brought me home a Hulk Hogan VHS tape, and I always loved wrestling from that point on. I kind of was raised through the Attitude Era, and I was about 10 years old, a real impressionable age when wrestling was probably at its zenith in that 2000-2001 period. I found the independents in 2006, around 2005-2006, late 2004 even a little bit, just from looking at old ECW stuff, and I guess I'll prove my age a little bit, downloading stuff on Kazaa.
Okay.
I was finding stuff, and the first independent I ran across was Ring of Honor, and then the second one was Combat Zone Wrestling. So I ran into those, and I got real into wrestling at that point, and I was about 16 years old, and I was I'm going to be a pro wrestler, and I was getting ready to do some training, and I actually had a guy that was showing me how to bump and stuff, and then I hit this weird spot in high school where it was oh hey, I'm going to join the high school wrestling team and play high school football because it's what the cool kids do. So I kind of got out of pro wrestling as much. As well, I think the product suffered about that 2008-ish reign. So I was 18 and wrestling wasn't as cool anymore. So I kind of got in MMA during that time. And right after high school, it was just I was I'm going to start training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I started training with the goal to fight an MMA fight. But then I fell in love with just the sport of jiu-jitsu so much that I kind of dedicated my life to to being a professional at that. And I kind of did that professionally for about 6 years. And during one of my training camps for one of my bigger tournaments, the Worlds that year, Kevin Steen, now Kevin Owens, had gotten kind of a lot of notoriety and was killing it in NXT, and he debuted on Raw. And I just remember my excitement of that. And then I remember just throughout that training camp, just going back, catching all this stuff that maybe I'd missed over the last couple of years and all of that. And it kind of fell back in love with wrestling. And when I fell back in love with wrestling, I kind of noticed in jiu-jitsu how I was being pushed too hard. And I was just always, kind of just being the guy who tried his hardest and was never there. And then my coach, I didn't feel respected me or that he respected my hard work. So I kind of shifted, I kind of want to be a pro wrestler now. This jiu-jitsu thing was great, and it was a great run, but I was it came down to the point of I was going to go to the Worlds that year, and if I killed it at Worlds, it was probably going to be I was going to stay doing jiu-jitsu full-time. Well, what happened was I went out, and first round I lost second round to a kid named Andrew Wiltsey, who is now one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world, and he throttled me so badly, I just said, I don't know if I can ever get to this level. So it was at that point that I said, you know what? I'm going to go to pro wrestling school. I Googled pro wrestling schools in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from Canton, so I figured Cleveland was my best bet. And the AIW Academy popped up, and, Johnny Gargano is a synonymous name. And Johnny Gargano is a synonymous name, and, Candice LeRae was a name that, you always hear about too. So the ability to train with those two was, insane.
It's pretty badass. So, what you're doing now is you get to incorporate the MMA into your professional wrestling matches. Mm-hmm. First of all, was that hard to kind of make that transition and kind of mesh them?
It's hard to a point because a lot of the things that you're taught to do in professional wrestling, facials, showing emotion, letting out cries of emotion, is stuff that's frowned upon in jiu-jitsu. If I'm in a submission, someone's got me in a submission in jiu-jitsu and I let out a primal scream, the referee's going to stop the match because he's afraid of my safety, whereas what we're doing in here is a little more theatrical. So it's tougher to do stuff like that. And getting the adjustment to that was a little bit more difficult for me at first. But I got really lucky when it came to adjusting my jiu-jitsu over, because like right around the time I started, Matt Riddle had kind of caught on a lot. So I had a really good guy to watch to see how he was taking his stuff, at least his selling, things like that. As well, I mean, Johnny Gargano, being my trainer, he's one of the best in the world, and he always, was finding a vested interest in finding ways to help me take my skills and do things like that. And it was kind of like Candace then was the other big, influence in that. And Candace always told me my best bet is to not ever become a true professional wrestler, or at least do like a true professional wrestler moveset. It's to look like a jiu-jitsu guy that stumbled into a wrestling ring, and he's got a whole different rule set to play with now, and he can do different things.
Absolutely. And you're pretty easygoing guy. We talk, but like I'm like legit kind of scared of you when I see you in your ring. Like you're like stone cold, like not Stone Cold Steve Austin, but like stone cold face, like jacking people in the face. And I gotta ask you this, and I know only a few people. What is it like wrestling barefoot? I know it's like probably the weirdest question. I'm sure you've gotten it before.
Yeah, it's weird because jiu-jitsu is a bare sport. It's like a barefoot sport, so it's very normal. And actually, if you look at it, like a lot of things you can do in bare feet, performance-wise, it's supposed to be better. Like it's actually legitimately you're supposed to lift in bare feet. It's actually better for your body to lift in bare feet. It was one of those things when I first decided to like do the MMA gimmick, and to do the jiu-jitsu gimmick. I was going to wear wrestling shoes, and one night I sat with the late Chandler Biggins, and we talked about it, and John Thorne came in too, and we all just agreed that wearing shoes just probably wouldn't get the gimmick over as well as it needed to. Yeah. Shorts, fight shorts, and the shoes doesn't get it over as well as fight shorts, no shoes. Like, you come out, you look like a fighter. Exactly. To me, at this point, it's normal. Like, I catch dives, I do dives at points now with no shoes. So it's just a normal piece part, but I will say when I wrestled Juice Robinson, I did catch a toenail on the mat, and it peeled back pretty far, and that's the first foot-related injury in almost 2 years.
Okay, all right. Well, it's one injury in 2 years. Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up because I know you had a long night. We have places to go, places to be. Couple quick speed round questions. What do you get pumped up? What's your music you get pumped up before you go to the ring?
So all different kinds of stuff. I kind of go either I've been getting into pop punk lately. My girlfriend got me into it, so that gets me going. And actually instrumental type stuff like Pretty Lights. It's something I used to listen to before jiu-jitsu, so that gets me going too.
Okay. Dream opponent.
Still, we're at Matt Riddle, number 1 still. Hopefully that happens soon. Kurt Angle is up there, and Mike Bailey, number 3.
Okay. And Nintendo or Sega?
Nintendo. I've been playing my Nintendo Switch a lot lately.
All right, cool, man. All right, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get out of your hair, man. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yep.